Every guy who actually changed his life stopped trying to make it hurt less. Not because they enjoyed the pain, not because they were built different, but because at some point they understood something most people never do. That the hurt wasn't the obstacle, it was the whole point. We've been asking the wrong question our entire lives. When something gets hard, really hard, the first thing we ask is, why is this so hard? Like difficulty is a signal that something's wrong. Like if you're struggling, you must be doing it wrong, or you're not ready, or maybe this just isn't for you. So we look for the easier path, the better system, the hack. And look, I'm not talking about laziness. I'm talking about something quieter than that. You sign up for the gym. First few weeks, you can't walk upstairs without grabbing the railing. Laughing hurts. Picking up a water bottle hurts. You wake up and for a second, you just lie there. Because you know the moment you sit up, it starts. And somewhere in week 4, you start thinking, maybe I should try a different program. Maybe the timing's off. Maybe I need more rest. Those things might even be true, but that's not why you're looking for them. Or you want to talk to someone. You know who. You've known for weeks. But there's a version of that conversation that ends badly. She says no, or worse, she doesn't even react. And that possibility alone is enough. So you go home, open an app, swipe for an hour. No rejection, no risk. And if nobody matches, that's fine too, because you never really put yourself out there anyway. Nothing to lose, nothing gained, nothing felt. Look, that's not a discipline problem. That's a framing problem. Pain isn't a sign you're on the wrong path. Most of the time, it's a sign you're finally on the right one. And your body, your ego, every comfortable part of you is telling you to turn back. The question was never, why is this hard? The question is, what does it mean that I'm still here anyway? Everyone's heard it. Pain makes you stronger. And maybe that's true. But that's not why it matters. Pain matters because it's the only thing you cannot fake. You can fake confidence. You can post the right things, say the right words, carry yourself a certain way, and nobody will know the difference. You can fake discipline, wake up early twice a week, and tell yourself you're the type of person who wakes up early. You can fake progress, new notebook, new plan, new version of the same guy who hasn't moved in 2 years. But you cannot fake being alone at 11 p.m. with something that's breaking you and staying anyway. Nobody sees that. Nobody gives you credit for it. There's no metric for it. That's exactly why it counts. I want to tell you something personal. I wasn't avoiding the gym. I wasn't afraid of rejection. I was avoiding something quieter than that. I used to be good. Really good. And for a long time that was enough. I coasted on it. Told myself I didn't need to push because I was already ahead. Whatever I tried, I figured I'd figure it out. That's just who I was. Then life hit me financially in a way I didn't see coming. And when I went to look for work, I realized the game had moved. The younger guys weren't smarter. They just hadn't spent years convincing themselves they didn't need to grow. That was my pain. Not failure. Irrelevance. The specific kind that comes from standing still, while everything around you accelerated. And the worst part? I'd chosen it. Not consciously, but every time I skipped the discomfort of learning something new, every time I told myself I already knew enough, that was a choice. I just didn't feel it as pain until much later. Sometimes now I watch young guys, hours on games, hours scrolling, hours on nothing, and I think, that was me. Not the same thing, but the same mechanism. I know exactly what's waiting at the end of that road. The pain I avoided wasn't dramatic. It was just daily, quiet, and it compounded when I finally really started, learning languages, building skills, making something real. I was already past 30. No head start, no advantage. Just me, starting from behind, knowing exactly how far behind I was. It wasn't inspiring, it was just necessary. And somewhere in that process, I stopped waiting for it to feel good. The work, the learning, the nights alone with something I didn't understand yet. I stopped needing company in it. That's the thing nobody tells you about chosen pain. It doesn't get easier. You just stop fighting the silence around it. So, I'm not going to tell you to embrace the pain. That's not what this is. Because most guys aren't afraid of pain. Not really. What they're afraid of is pain that doesn't mean anything. Suffering without direction. Hurting and still ending up nowhere. And look, that fear makes sense. It's not weakness. It's just the wrong architecture. Here's the shift. There are two kinds of pain. Pain that happens to you and pain you choose. The first kind will find you regardless. Rejection, loss, failure you didn't see coming. That pain has no structure. It just arrives and you survive it or you don't. The second kind is different. When you walk into the gym knowing it's going to be hard. When you have the conversation you've been avoiding for 3 months. When you sit down to build something with no guarantee it works. That pain you chose, and chosen pain is the only pain that builds anything. The guys who change, they don't feel less. They don't suffer less. They just get very deliberate about what they're willing to suffer for. That's it. That's the whole shift. Not can you handle pain, but are you choosing yours? Or just collecting it? Most people don't fail because life is hard. They fail because they spent years trying to make it comfortable. You already know what needs to hurt. You've known for a while. Maybe it's something you've been putting off for months. Maybe it's something you started and quietly stopped. Maybe it's just a version of yourself you caught a glimpse of once, and then made yourself forget. Because the distance between here and there felt like too much. You don't need another framework. You don't need a better morning routine. You don't need this video to tell you what to do. You just need to stop negotiating with the thing you already know. It will hurt. That's the point.